Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Allison and today I am sharing with you a new scrapbook layout. This layout is 12 by 12 inches and I am including heat embossing on this layout. I wanted to play with vellum and create really soft flowers. And I knew that I had a floral stamp that would work perfectly for this. I actually had two, and I stamped them both out trying to decide which one I wanted to use most, and I ended up using the second one. I stamped, or actually heat embossed them 3 times directly onto the vellum using gold powder. It's really easy to do. The vellum stood up really well to the heat when I applied my heat gun to set the embossing, and stamping on it is really easy and really nice as well. I didn't have a die to cut those florals out, so I cut them all by fussy cutting, my own elbow grease, and I'm going to sprinkle them around the page. If you don't have vellum, like I didn't, I discovered that in a pinch, you can go to Staples and order or buy vellum from there. It came in a pack of 25 sheets. They're 8.5 by 11, and it was $15 Canadian. Now, I know other stores do carry it as well. I know that you can get vellum and stencil sheets from Close to My Heart. I'm fairly certain you can get it from scrapbook.com and then other places as well, like Amazon. But like I said, I was in a pinch. I really wanted it, and I had decided a couple of days ago that I was going to use it for this particular layout. And after bringing my daughter to a doctor's appointment this morning, I dropped by and looked to see if I could find it in store because I knew they had it online. And sure enough, they did. So if you need to go looking at Staples for vellum, look in the stationery aisle. I wandered up and down all of the aisles until I got to stationery, and that's where I found it. So FYI. I decided that I wanted to add a little bit more depth to this layout as well. So I took some Pebble ink, which I had in my stash. It's Close to My Heart ink. And I stamped basically a silhouette behind each of the floral clusters. I used scrap white cardstock just to protect the parts of the layout that I didn't want stamped. And then for the last one, because it was going to be adhered over pattern paper, I decided to stamp it on another sheet of extra white cardstock and then fussy cut it out and then layer it underneath the last floral cluster, which is down in the very bottom right hand of the envelope. I cut that envelope outline with my Cricut Explorer. It is one of the images in the Cricut image library, and it's free for you to use if you have the Cricut Access subscription. I'm not sure if it's available to you if you don't have Cricut Access. Gluing the vellum, I wasn't entirely sure how it was going to work. I added just a little dot to the first flower where there was heat embossing so that in case it showed through, you wouldn't see it beneath the embossing. I didn't have anything to worry about. The vellum is like opaque enough that you don't see liquid glue through it after you've glued it to your paper. So the next flower that I got to, I wasn't as conscious of where I put the glue because I knew that it wasn't going to show through. The last floral cluster is going on my journaling spot, which basically is a letter to my daughter. That was the whole theme for this layout and the idea that I was running with when I designed it. My daughter has been having some really difficult times lately, and we had a heart-to-heart the other day, and after that heart-to-heart, I really started thinking about making a scrapbook layout about what she's going through and writing her a letter, reminding her how amazing she is and all of the great things about her that I admire and honestly wish was part of my personality. So that brings me to a question. I am a chronological scrapbooker, and I like to keep the stories that I tell in chronological order as they happened. So in my scrapbooking, I am scrapbooking the end of 2019. I'm in December. I'm just about to start 2020. And this layout is completely outside of my, like the way that I normally do things. So my question is, do I add today's date? Because the conversation that I had with my daughter actually happened last week. And I didn't want to wait until the point that I do reach 2021 to scrapbook this, because it's not fresh in my mind and it's not going to be, I kind of feel like, as heartfelt as it is right now. So do I add the current date, or do I add the date, just make up a date? Because this photo actually comes from, I think, September of 2019. So I'm going way back out of order, and I don't know what to do. What are your guys' thoughts? I'm leaning towards adding the current date and maybe breaking out of my norm and starting to scrapbook things as they happen and putting the current date on it while still scrapbooking in chronological order. But I'm going to add those layouts into my album as I go along. So I'm not going to save them until I get to the 2021 album. I'll put it in my December 2019 album, if that makes sense. That was a huge bunny trail and took way longer for me to ask than I had anticipated. So getting back to my layout process, I added the journaling to the notebook paper die cut, which is also a Cricut die cut. I just used my craft mat, the one with the lines on it, the measurements, used a straight edge ruler and my pencil to mark out the lines, and then wrote out my journaling, and then I erased the lines afterwards. I wanted to create the envelope so that it was like an open envelope with the letters sticking out of it. So I added craft foam to the back of the envelope to pop it up, and measured so that when the notebook paper was slid inside it, it fit. So there's craft foam around 3 of the edges and not the 4th, so that there's an opening up at the top. I purposely left the scrapbook or the note paper hanging out the top, and I put the tab there beside the flowers as an aid, basically, just to help you pull the letter out if you wanted to read the letter. I stapled the tab to the top of that and then glued the XOXO to it as well. So this layout is pretty well complete. I've added some bronze sequins to embellish the layout just a little bit, and I felt like I needed to draw some more color up to the top of the layout as well. So I added a little strip of the same pattern paper that's down at the bottom of the layout and distressed the top and tore a little bit of it so that that color would peek through. I added the few other bits and pieces of the one floral cluster that I fussy cut and then added to the bottom right flower. The pieces that were cut off, I added them to the layout as well, so nothing was wasted, which feels pretty awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. This layout is complete. I do have still shots and close-ups coming up, so definitely feel free to stick around for that. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope that you find inspiration here and you enjoy my videos. And if you're a returning viewer, I hope that you enjoyed this video as well. And I hope it inspired you to try heat embossing on vellum. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button and the little bell so you don't miss any other videos from me. And I will be back again soon with more inspiration. Bye, friends.